The scriptures are really clear that the greatest form of love, greatest thing that we're called to do is to love God and to love people. And we're called to encourage people. In Hebrews 3:12 it says, you must encourage one another each day. It doesn't say you must encourage one another from time to time or once a year at Christmas or New Year or on a birthday. It says you must encourage one another every day. And the greatest love that as Christians we can have for one another is the eternal welfare of that person forever, their eternal well-being. The fact that we are having, as I said to someone this week, we are having a fleeting experience called human life. But the reality is there is a much longer life that is to come. And that's the big one. The key word for encouragement literally means to stir up, to provoke, to incite people in a given direction. This week I was speaking in a place for 5 nights, and in a parish church for 5 nights. And at the end of it, when we were having tea and coffee at the end, people would come around and they would gather around and they would say to me, when you said, or when someone sang this song, or a member of your team did this, it had this impact in me. Well, I don't know what that caused me to do is, how could I do that again? How could you provoke up that same response again? When I was young, my dad, who's seriously one of the great heroes of my life, it didn't matter what you did, how poorly you did it, it didn't matter how inadequate it was, how little it was, he would come to you and say, "That was good, son." And he would call, I'd come from a family of 5 boys, and all of us he would call son. And he would come and say, "Son, that was good." And then when he wanted to talk all of us together, he'd say, "My sons," you know, and he would say son. And he had this great sense, and no matter what he did, what we did, he would encourage you. He wasn't adverse to giving you a clip over the ear and to telling you when you'd done poorly, and he wasn't adverse to saying you can be better. But he would, you know, he would love you to bits. And I want to encourage you to change and to create a discipline out of what we're doing today. Imagine if we could commence around our country and in all the places where this is shown, an encouragement revolution.